From Axios, LA protests ignite anti-ICE demonstrations across the country. I love the headline writing for these news organizations because I think it's actually fair to say LA riots ignite anti-ICE protests, demonstrations. Well, we've got tons of videos, my friends. Here's this from CNN, a short clip for you.
The protests are spreading to cities across the country right now, from California to Dallas and Atlanta, Louisville, and New York. Many protesters say it's time to take a stand against the Trump administration's policies and what they feel are heavy-handed and heartless enforcement.
It's an absurdity, but here's a bunch of clips. Right now, so this is just from about 40 minutes ago, the 101 freeway in LA has been shut down again.
Police out there.
We can see a bunch of these lunatics shutting down the freeway.
Police just came out. Look, police are out on the road right now. Police are there right now.
What else do we got here? We've got a massive protest in downtown Chicago, right next to the Trump building. You can see here on the right. Now, this is a large march. This is not a riot. This is a protest. But I do believe there are reports of arrests already taking place. In fact, I think we have them. Protesters and police are clashing. Okay, it's a riot. Items are being thrown. This is an hour ago. People are being detained in Chicago. We have this video from Seattle Federal Building. Authorities have removed the Lime scooter and bike blockade, but now people are linking arms and blocking police, so still in protest territory. In New York, they're blocking the roads, and white people are yelling at black people because they're morally superior, I guess, so they say.
I think we should play that clip, too.
Okay, all right. This one really got Libby angry. Let me set up. There's a black woman who's trying to get to work, and there are two white protesters.
Then what happens to my kid? I can't help it. But you can if you could just move out the way. You're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do? No, it's not.
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh, no, not work.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
So I just want to shout out, that's Savannah Hernandez out there in New York, Katie Davis Court, Jonathan Cho, they're out in Seattle. But I just want to say, this is insane. Stopping people from going to work, like you should be automatically arrested and indicted and imprisoned because you should never be stopping people from feeding their families and taking care of themselves and doing what they have to do to be part of, breathing and eating. Like that's just totally out of control.
Not only that, it's forcing that other person's values onto you. It's totally taking away the individual's agency to say, I don't want to engage with this. One of the things that people in the United States have kind of always taken for granted was I have the ability to opt out of the political takes. In the past 10 years, 15 years, that kind of liberty has kind of gone away. And I think most Americans want that back because they want to say, I'll go and I'll vote, but I don't have to have every single part of my life politicized.
And that's what they've done.
While they're talking, I'd like if you could pull this up and just join me in this as I tweet.
Yes, I think that is wonderful, and I'm going to.
Listen, this is for those that are just listening. I took a screenshot of the white man yelling at the black woman, and I wrote the face of white supremacy.
He's a white supremacist. He's a horrible man. This is white privilege. Yeah.
It's an expression of white privilege.
I completely agree with all of these leftist precepts about white privilege now that a white person is attacking a black woman.
Exactly right.
And he's there, for the people who are listening, he's got a green koozie and a little orange drink in
a man bun.
And
a man bun. Don't forget the man bun.
Don't forget the man bun.
I mean, he's every little bit of the stereotype that you think he is.
I just want to say, of all the things that he's doing, the protesting, the communism, the blocking, this road, I'm actually okay with all of that. It's the man bun where I think he should go to jail.
Yeah.
No, none of that.
I mean, look.
But in all seriousness, it's funny because these people, they are the ones on the internet all high and mighty calling everyone else racists. And Savannah is Latina, I'm assuming.
I don't think she is.
What is she Asian?
I think she's from Guam.
Guam.
I think, her family,
Pacific
she's
Islander.
from Texas. But
she is not white.
She is not white.
And then you have this black woman. And these two women of color are begging these white people to please move. And they're like, no.
Right. And then they make fun of them for wanting to go to their jobs, and like I just find that so, like, I'm for once without words. It is shocking to me that you would prevent someone from going to work to do their job. And also, it's like you were saying, Phil, about this thing where they have decided that politics needs to be in every conceivable facet of our lives. Not only, like, they politicized the arts and they politicized everything on the internet and they politicized your clothes and your car and everything else. And they're making it impossible for you to just exist as a person. And we used to have this thing in this country that was basically the civil religion, right? You believe what you believe. That's cool. You have your religion at home. Okay, you go to your church. But in public, you treat everyone with dignity and respect. You treat everyone like their lives matter too. And these stupid white people, these white supremacist racists, are out here saying that this black woman's life doesn't matter, that her kids' lives don't matter, right? Where 5 years ago, they were probably out there in New York City protesting, George Floyd, whatever else, screaming Black Lives Matter. And now they're telling this black woman that her life and her kids' lives don't matter.
This is why I keep telling people that wokeness has nothing to do with critical race theory, nothing to do with a critical theory. It is entirely just adhering to the liberal orthodoxy. Here's another example. White people telling a black woman she can't go to work because their ideology is more important than her. Now, shouldn't the ideology of critical theory, they as the oppressive white people say, we defer to you? That's progressive stick. No, it's because wokeness is literally just about whatever makes sense for the cult. It is a murmuration of zombified leftist NPCs that believe random things, whatever they're told to believe in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep in mind, too, like, it's always white people pressing wokeness. It's not really people that are of different colors, and that has been really grinding against the narrative. I mean, people are starting to see in the black community, in the Hispanic community, that it's just a bunch of white people being ninnies, and they're breaking away from it. I think that's part of the dynamic that happened in 2024 that got groups of those voters to vote in much larger numbers than previous times for Donald Trump, because they're just fed up with it. It's white man bun guy, making them go crazy.
Yeah, we got some video from Dallas just last night. There had been a bunch of arrests and clashes with police, and then there's this live stream from New York City, and this is just from a couple hours ago. So protests in New York. What I will say, my experience in New York with protests is the police never do anything. You get what's called kettling. They'll surround you and just arrest you, but you almost never see cops in New York attacking people or pepper spraying or tear gas. They never use tear gas. And I think the issue is because of the water table, because of like how it would go to the ocean and cause problems. But that's why during Occupy it was a big deal when that one cop, Tony Baloney, pepper sprayed those young women. It's kind of funny, actually, if you look at it.
What's his name, really? Tony Baloney?
Anthony Bologna.
I love that.
Tony Baloney. He
must have had it tough in middle
school. There were several women standing on the sidewalk. They weren't in the protest group. They were outside of the kettle, and they were yelling, and he got frustrated, I guess, walked up and just sprayed him in the face with a little can of pepper spray. And that is what created Occupy Wall Street. Most people don't know this. Nobody cared about Occupy at all until Tony Baloney pepper sprayed these three women, creating, at the time, the fastest viral video in history. Something like 1.2 million views in only a couple of hours. This is 2011, so this is early days of social media, or, early-ish days. And everyone's like, I can't believe how many views this video got overnight. And then everyone went out in the streets. So now we've got tear gas, expanding foam rounds. There's a video going around where a guy's yelling at a cop, and the cop just shoots him point blank with the 40 millimeter foam round, which is pretty egregious. Like, just an angry cop. The guy was annoying, sure, but he just blasted him twice, actually. Yeah. So things are getting rowdy, and it's videos like this that I think are going to escalate this into something like this weekend. It's going to be nuts, because there's two things that stop people from rioting, and it's work and weather. And so you see protests like this where the guy's like, oh no, not work. That guy doesn't have a job. No, that guy's sucking the teat of the state or something like that. Or he's got his trust fund kid. A lot of trust fund kids at these protests.
How disgusting is that? He's either totally a vagrant that's living at the behest of the state, or he's totally a trust fund kid that has so much money, none of this stuff actually affects him.
During Occupy, it was organized by trust fund kids.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's not an exaggeration. And when several in media would point it out, largely conservative, many of the activists would take it as an offense, like, I am not a trust fund kid. And it's like, yo, those people who are literally organizing and everything, yeah, they're trust fund kids. That's why they're here. They don't have jobs. They don't need jobs.
Yeah, they can just hang out in the street all day.
That's right.
And not bathe. It doesn't matter.
So the other thing is travel. There's going to be a lot of left-aligned people. Not as many as probably there used to be because Trump is actually, he's doing really well. But people are going to drive to these cities. So you got to understand that people might live 2 hours north of New York. They're not going to drive in for this. On the weekend, they'll say, let's drive in the morning and join the protests for Saturday and Sunday. I think this weekend is going to be nuts.
Well, don't forget what's happening in Washington. You got the big parade planned. Army.
It's going to thunderstorm, though.
And that may help out what was intended to be something really big. I mean, don't consider, these are not organic, by the way. These were all planned. Data Republican has got some fantastic research on what's funding it, what's triggering it. This is all in design. They are trying to thwart Donald Trump, obviously, at every turn. And this time it's backfiring big time. 2020, things didn't backfire quite as hugely as it's about to backfire right now.
I mean, this is an 80-20 issue.
Yeah.
The BLM riots, that was actually a massively popular issue.
Yeah.
The approval rating for BLM at the time of George Floyd's death was around 55 to 60% in aggregate. And then the riots wiped all of that off the map and it went negative. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.